Hello guys, and welcome back, and we're going to pick up where we left off. So we have our shelf layout here, and I've already moved one of the turnouts. If you remember from I think it was video 9, video 9, importing track components. I went into detail as to how to import these turnouts from a program called Xtrax. I like Xtrax a lot. Those guys did a great job, but it's just not flexible enough for me for design work. So that's why I don't use it, and that's why I'm using CAD. So, but in that video, I show how to import in the turnouts. These are Atlas. These are number 4s up here, and these are number 6s here. So I showed in that video how to just kind of redraw them, put them on the track layer so that we could use these as turnouts as prototypes, and just copy them whenever we want to use them, which is what I did. So I've got a left turnout here, a number 6. So what I want to do in this video is I'm thinking maybe like a train yard, small train yard in here with some industries, maybe I don't know, maybe I'm gonna try to get like a passing siding in here if I can. So I'm winging this as I go along, so it may not be the most functional design, but the intent of these videos is just to show how to use DraftSight to do this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rotate the turnout, the length of the turnout here parallel with this wall. But before I do that, what I want to do, if you guys are going to put a backdrop in, which is what I normally do, I'm going to these aren't drawn correctly. This should be like that, and this should be up here like this. These green blocks here, they denote the wall studs. So what this little orange block here denotes is the 1x1 dimensional lumber that you can buy at like a Home Depot or Lowe's. You can usually get a stick of it, like an 8-foot stick, for like, I don't know, it's pretty cheap actually. It's not that much, $4 or $5 maybe. So that's usually what I mount my the first thing I do is I mount the pilasters, the 1x1s. I attach those to the wall studs using lag bolts. Again, I have videos on that. You'll just have to look through and see which ones which videos. Well, here, I'll just look real quick. Let's see. I don't really want to start doing this because it eats it up into the time of doing this video. I think it's this one right here. I think it's either this. Well, it's either this one, or I think it starts here, and I show how to attach the pilasters to the wall and using lag bolts. So that's what I'm thinking here. So I'm just going to copy that, move that about in there like that, and then we'll do it again. Now again, I haven't measured anything here. This is just kind of a fictitious. I mean, you can tell that's not 32 inches between there and there. It's more, but just for the sake of demonstration, we'll do that. These are, I'm issuing the copy command, by the way, and I'm just, for some reason these did not. I'm issuing the copy command, which is CO, and I'm just grabbing the midpoint and just connecting to the midpoint of the wall stud so to be centered. Something like that. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and draw my backdrop. So here I'm just going to issue the polyline command and just draw a polyline like that and that. I use the hardboard for my backdrop. Again, there's videos on that if you want to check that out if you haven't already. Okay, so I've got my polyline's drawn. Now the objective is just to create a nice smooth curve in here for for the backdrop. So the way to do that is if you use the fillet command, type in F for fillet, and we're going to specify a radius. See how it's the option here. Actually, before we do that, we're going to select the first entity, then we're going to select the second entity, and I guess the radius is defaulted. I hit Control Z there to undo, by the way. So let's do the fillet command again. Yeah, it's picking up the default radius where I've done the command before of 1.66. That's a little bit too much. So I am going to come back and type in R for radius here, and I'm going to type in 1.0 for a 1 foot radius. Yeah, something about like that. You can see a tighter radius, it doesn't take up so much real estate. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend EX for extend. Select the object, the boundary object you want to extend to. In this case, I want to extend to the edge of the shelf. I'm going to right click, push that line that I just drew straight on through. I can do the same thing down here. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to change that to the backdrop layer. Backdrop, and I'm going to give it a width of 0.02. There we go, we have our backdrop drawn in there. I always like to put that backdrop in first because I like to try to stay 2 inches off, at least 2 inches off the backdrop. It's about as close as I want to get with the track. So I'm going to go ahead and just offset that backdrop 2 inches, which I know to be in tenths, that's 0.166. So if you look at now let's type in calculator down here. 2 inches times 0.083 is 0.166. So you can offset this 0.166. So I don't want to get any closer than that. I'm just going to make that 0 layer instead of backdrop layer. So it'll be white and make it won't give it any width. There we go. So I don't want to get any closer to the backdrop than this white line here. So, you know, if we think about this as being our passing siding, then probably what I want to do here is let's see here. If we don't want to get any closer than this, again, I'm just trying to come up with something here, and in fact I might end this video here in just a second. I don't want it to get too long. Let's say our passing siding is doing something like this. Something about like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim. I'm going to use the fillet command. I'm going to use this part, this straight part of the line. And I'm going to use the fillet command and attach that straight part of the line with that line I just drew. So I'm going to type in F for fillet. And I'm going to give it a radius. I prefer the radius to not be any less than 20 inches. So we'll try 24 inches first and see how that looks, which is 2 feet. So I want this entity in the straight part of this one. And as you can see, that pushed that beyond the backdrop, so that's not going to work. So why don't we do this? Let's take this line back out and draw a polyline like something like this. There we go. Now let's do that fillet command again and go, instead of going 2 feet, let's go 1.83, which is 22 inches. Yeah, that would work. And then we can make this a nice sweeping radius here of like, I don't know, 10 feet. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move some of the design criteria that I use is just to keep a 2-inch track separation. So for right now, in trying to do the yard, I'm just going to offset this white line here. I'm going to offset it 2 inches, which is 0.166. Okay, and then what we can do is we can move this turnout from the end of here down to, I don't know, about in here somewhere, and then we can rotate. So the rotate command is RO. Select the turnout, select the base point, and I'm going to give it a reference, R for reference, here to here. And then I'm going to rotate into this line like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place another turnout over here where you can go from the yard up to the passing siding. We'll do that same thing down here somewhere. It's not going to be very big though. Okay, well let's just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to copy another left-hand turnout over to here. Now with the number 6s, they're not, you have to add a little bit of track in here in order to have a 2-inch separation between, you know, each track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a polyline, and I'm going to draw it parallel to that line that I just clicked right there. So the way I do that is I type in PL for polyline, select the end, and now I'm going to issue the parallel command. So if you come over here and look, it's not going to be over there. You're going to have to come down to entity snaps and go to settings, and oh, I've already got it turned on. Okay, good. So I just come up here and kind of hover over that, and I get that parallel tooltip, and then I can just push that line straight on out like that. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this turnout here and I'm going to move it just to somewhere on the passing siding here, because I need to rotate it in. Something about like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this track here that I just rotated. I'm going to move it up to where the diverging route intersects this diverging route here. So since I just rotated this, I can move this command without having to select it. I can just type in M for move and then P for previous, and it's the previous selects anything I just worked on, which in this case was the turnout. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it up here like this, and there we go. We have our crossover right here. Let's grip edit this up to here like that, and then do the match command. So there we got our beginning train yard there. I'm going to cut it here because I got a feeling this video is already long. I'll see you in the next video.